Big 12 Football Media Day items to clean up. Day 2 today. I thought day 1 was after the Oklahoma State stuff. I thought that Brett Yormark delivered a hundo P on his edict that we talked about on the show yesterday. And I thought his won't stop until we're number 1 was exactly what we needed to hear.
We're one of the, and I say this often, we're one of the 3 best conferences in America, and we're getting better. Think about where we were just 24 months ago, and think about where we are today. So I will not stop until we're the number 1 conference in America. That's my ambition. I shouldn't have anything but that. And that's what that's the ambition of our conference. It's the ambition of our presidents and ADs. Why would we be doing what we're doing if we don't aspire to be number 1? But we continue to get better, and I like where we're going.
A1.
Exactly the right answer. And the issue obviously is that as fans, we revise history moment to moment. I think his point about where were we 2 years ago is exactly right. This conference was not in a good place. This conference, in my opinion, was in real trouble. Right up until the now embattled president at USC, Carol Folt, made her now infamous decision to go to the Big Ten. I think the Big 12 was in a position to die. And Brett Yormark comes in, and I think he has not put a step wrong. I think the biggest question is when he talks about being number 1, is there a pathway for the Big 12 to be the biggest, baddest mother in the college football world?
That's tough.
I don't see that. You would have to, in my opinion, have teams win multiple championships for that to happen. And I think you need the Jits. You need the Utes to win a national championship. You need Oak State would be phenomenal. If Oklahoma State wins a national championship of college football, I think it exponentially raises the profile of the conference.
Well, and I think part of the Big 12's edict right now and their mission is to get more money coming into the conference too. And it used to be, we've talked so much about how it used to just be TV money and getting that better deal, that higher paying deal. But we've seen a shift away from that. And obviously, Brett yesterday and all of his other media coverage said that nothing's imminent on a naming rights deal.
Commissioner Yormark?
Commissioner, said nothing was imminent on the naming rights situation or on the private money situation. But I do think he's working on that. And I do think that that's where their path begins. Now, I agree. I don't think that you're going to be able to become the best conference in college football. But what I do think the Big 12 can do is be the best that's not the Big 10 and the SEC.
I think the Big 12 can distribute $80 million a year. And if you ever break the $80 million threshold, you're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
Right? I think Brett Yormark's leadership can get you to double your distribution that it is now. I'm curious to see what does a naming rights deal on the conference look like? Where do you go? And who is your partner on that? I think that's critical because we all have these delusions of grandeur that, oh man, a naming rights deal for the partner for the conference, it'd be amazing. Yeah, if it's fansonly.com Big 12 football, that's not quite going to work. Right? If it's the Russian Communist Party Big 12 football, that's going to satisfy Dakota Tubbs, but really nobody else. But if it is the Built Ford Tough Big 12 football or Built Ford Tough Big 12 conference, you're in good hands with the All-State Big 12 conference. Now you're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
If that is $50 to $100 million on its own a year, that's fantastic. Probably won't be that much, but if it's somewhere it's got to be tens of millions of dollars a year.
Yeah. That's
great. If it continues to be, like the old Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship game, Kansas City is a must. And I continue to say this, I got my ass kicked in the comments over this yesterday. Las Vegas is a problem for me. You need to own Dallas, in my opinion. And right now, the SEC owns Dallas in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
And I will continue to fight this fight. I'll die on this hill for the Big 12. Texas is where the Big 12 thrives or dies. And I continue to point to Joey Maguire, 8-ball in Waco. I continue to point to Sonny Dykes did not knock me off my feet yesterday.
Mm-mm.
He did not. He spoke in general terms, and I get it. TCU has to be good. Houston has to be good. Baylor has to be good. Texas Tech, can you imagine Texas Tech winning a national championship? Jeez.
I actually think they're one of those brands that would be phenomenal just for college football.
Can you imagine? And I think Oak State has such pull in the state of Texas. And whether it's Gundy or anything else, it's why I continue to tell you Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is not just an also-ran. They are either an anvil around the neck of this conference or they are a buoy. One of the two.
Yeah.
Because, and I love what Kyle Whittingham represents. Utah winning a national championship does not bring the effect that an Oak State, a Texas Tech, a Houston would bring to this conference. BYU does not bring that. Cincinnati, UCF. None of those other brands bring that. And my biggest concern about Brett Yormark is his ability to find a university that he can make the brand of this conference. You're never replacing Texas, but who replaced Oklahoma in this league? I don't think anybody.
Remains to be seen.
And that's why I say if somebody like a Tech or a Houston were to win a national championship, they'd instantly be on the profile of an Oklahoma. Instantly, because Oklahoma, frankly, since Lincoln left, even when Lincoln was there, the notorious Lincoln knocks that he's good but not great.
Mm-hmm. But you were relevant. Oklahoma was relevant under Lincoln's time.
Yeah,
no
they were.
Question.
They were. And I think it's really, really important that happens. Mike Smith, Whittingham filed a restraining order against the stalkers from the Monty Show so they could not go to the Big 12 Media Day. You figured it out. Truck stop conference paid for by the Lot Lizard Union of America. Okay. San Diego State Glenn, hello. From Yormark's speech, pressure is a privilege. I got goosebumps listening to that yesterday. Pressure is a privilege. I agree with that. Big Blue Horses, the Kenworth 12 Conference. Mack Truck Big 12 football presented by OnlyFans. There you go. It is what it is. I just think it is. I just think it's really interesting that you have a conference that I think is so close, and you just need one university to build on. Who's your Alabama? Who's your Georgia? Who's your Ohio State? Who's even your USC, who I think the Pac-12 was built on? Who's your USC? Who's your Oregon? This conference needs that.
Yes.
And doesn't have it. Oak State, James, the Big 12 sponsored by Buc-ee's.
Well,
Tanner, that pressure is a privilege was really insightful to me because it is. I think it's so interesting the way humans process pressure because I just think it's all self-inflicted. It truly is. And then I wonder, how impressed were you with Utah yesterday? Because I don't think there's any doubt Utah was the belle of the ball yesterday. I think they were the stars of that. And Cam Rising talking about BYU, I thought was interesting.
Absolutely. I just want to go down there and whip their ass pretty much. That's all I'm focused on.
I just want to go down there and whip their ass.
That's it.
That's what I'm focused on.
That's it. And I love that out of Witt's program. I thought, Witt did what he does every year at Media Day. Yeah, whether it's Pac-12 or Big 12. The guy shows up, has some conversations, doesn't make the news, and we're on to the next. And it's smart. It's really smart. And I thought, I love the heat from Cam Rising there. I thought the contrast between Utah and BYU in that sense was pretty stark. Like,
somebody should tell him the game's in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Because he said he wants to go down there and whip their ass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's at your field, but it's fine.
It's a home game, Cam. It's Cam. Nope, not making Ollie Gordon jokes. Too soon. Too soon.
Yeah.
I think Utah was absolutely the star of day one. And I think the way that you could see the wholesale respect that Kyle Whittingham has. You can see and I thought the reaction, where you were talking about how elite Kyle Whittingham's program is. And I thought it was very interesting naming off all the players Kyle Whittingham has put in the NFL draft yesterday. The accolades for Cam Rising. I think that there is an expectation. And I just am not convinced that Utah has the brand power to be what everybody thinks an elite football team can be. And I don't know how you fix that.
Yeah, I mean, nationally, I don't know that they do. I do think when you're at an event like Big 12 Media Days, I think in that event, Utah has that kind of power, but nationally, just they haven't quite gotten over that hump. And I think that, we get, halfway through the season, we get to October, get to November, you start to look at the Utes, and let's say they're one loss or no loss. Then I think you're going to start to see a lot of attention given to them. But I last year just wasn't good enough, and I understand there was a lot of adversity, but this year you got to get back to who you were.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see if Utah can live up to it on the field. They have a very interesting schedule. I mean, obviously the Oklahoma State game is massive, but you have a very interesting schedule, and I think that when you go in and you are the favorite and you are not shrinking to that at all, I loved that they all talked about Witt Rising. Everybody talked about the fact that, hey man, we're the favorites and we're good with that because they've been there. They've done that. And I think in this new conference, it's going to be really interesting to see how all of that plays out. Now, today you have the pretty boys. Today you've got all the headliners. The sensationalism will sweep through Las Vegas today. And I'm interested to see how all that plays out. I truly am. I am.
I doubt we'll get somebody to say something stupider than Mike Gundy did, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think Deion Sanders has to perform. And I am really curious. When you look at brands and people that can lift a conference, I think Deion Sanders is the only gravitational personality in this conference. I don't think, again, because he talked yesterday, Sonny Dykes, who led off Big 12 Media Day yesterday, is not gravitational. Would you rather listen to Prime or Sonny Dykes? You're going to take Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
He is, in my opinion, so pivotal and vital. I look at all of the brands in this conference, and none has the potential that Colorado has. Because if Colorado in the next 3 years, and we'll see what they do at quarterback, how do you replace, Travis Hunter? How do you replace Shador, Shiloh? Like, how do you replace all those guys? Because you're going to lose a lot of talent after this season. But if in the next 3 years they're competing for a college football playoff spot, oh,
yeah,
bro, that's when this conference becomes something. Because he's the guy that's got it, personality wise. So I'll be very interested to see how all that plays out. All right, let's switch gears because I do want to get you to this NBA update. This Jazz stuff is becoming crazy. All of our NBA talk on the Monty Show, of course, is presented by PrizePicks, prizepicks.com. Download the PrizePicks app. It is America's #1 daily fantasy app. Tens of millions of people use it every day, just like I do. A baller on a budget? Okay, no problem. You can play PrizePicks for $5. There quite literally is no easier game to get into or more affordable daily fantasy game than prizepicks.com. Use the promo code Monty. They'll match your deposit 100%. Football is back. You've got to get into it at prizepicks.com. But I'm telling you, golf, with the Scottish Open and the Open Championship coming up in the next couple of weeks, Major League Baseball. Can you believe we are approaching the All-Star break already
Crazy.
in Major League Baseball? With college football back, NFL is on the way, NBA Summer League is here. There's so much to do at prizepicks.com where they will match your deposit 100% up to $100 at prizepicks.com when you use the promo code Monty. MONTY Monty is your code.